Greetings, boys and girls. Uncle Scratch here. Welcome to another fun and exciting program. Today, I would like you to gather around your television set while I read you a fun story that's sure to put a smile on your face, like Mr. Clown. But before I begin my story, I never start without a tall glass of milk. Mr. Director, could you please hand me my glass of milk? Thank you. Also, kids, I would like to make a toast to the President of the United States. Hail to the Chief. Here you go, Mr. Director. Today's story is by Madeline O'Hare, and it's illustrated by Joe Kirby. And it's entitled, Do You Know All the Gods Came from the Same Place? Once upon a time, people were like kids. They could not read or write. They never went to schools. They did not even know how to build houses like you live in. They didn't know what caused the rain or the thunder and lightning. If they caught a cold or were ill, they did not know why or how to help themselves. But they could think. So they made up gods and then asked the gods to help them. They thought a god was like their own fathers, with a long beard sitting on a cloud somewhere. Men didn't shave then, like your daddy does. Finally, no matter what happened to them, they said, God did it. People dreamed up all kinds of gods, so that now, today, in our world, there are many, many gods. Gods always look like the people who make them up. In India, where most people are brown and wear clothes strange to us, the gods are brown with black hair and eyes and eat ghee, that's buffalo butter, and ride on elephants. India is a very old country, so the first gods were dreamed up there. One god ate too much rice, so he was a fat god. China's gods looked just like the Chinese people. They wore silk robes, wooden shoes, and eat fish. In Japan, one family pretended they were the made-up gods. The father of this family was always the main god. He was an emperor too. Can you say Hirohito, boys and girls? Very good. But the Japanese emperor's country lost a war, and so the last emperor there was not a god anymore. He became just an ordinary person again. When one country fights with another country, whichever country wins makes the other country play God with the winner's God. The Muslims made people take their God by fighting a war against them. Christians also made other countries take their gods. And they are still doing that even today. Sometimes kings wanted to change the gods they played with and told everyone they must accept some new god. Sometimes kings heard about make-believe gods of other countries, liked them, and just added them to their own play gods. Isn't that ridiculous, kids? No one had cars or airplanes then. Most people had to walk everywhere, so gods continued to look like the people who made them up in the God factory in their heads. This was because people stayed in their own countries and did not travel much. If the people wanted to have fun, they dreamed up gods who had 6 heads or 20 breasts. What an imagination, right, kids? Many more than your puppy has, too. Some gods had children, so then these children were gods. Some gods are very new gods. They were made up just a little while ago. Today, we don't make up gods anymore. We know what causes thunder, lightning, and rain, and we have doctors to help people when they are sick. But all these old god ideas are still around. Some countries still borrow gods from other countries. The people in our country, the United States, borrowed our God from the Jewish people in Israel. Gods are dumb if the people and nations who make them are dumb. When this old Jewish God was made, he was very dumb because the people who dreamed him up were very dumb, way back then. He did not even understand he was supposed to have made the world round. He thought it was flat. He thought he could stop the sun to make one day longer, so one battle in a war could be finished in one day. This dumb God thought that blowing horns would make the walls of a city fall down. He thought rain came from a hole in the sky. He thought snakes and donkeys could talk. He thought a man could live inside a whale because whales are so big. This God had a son who was dumb too. He thought he could walk on water. He thought people had demons inside them and that he could drive these demons out and into pigs. That is funny. The Jewish people were not supposed ever to eat any pork, so no one can understand why their God put pigs in that country in the first place. Some gods were mean. This son of a god was angry with a little fig tree once. Some gods were angry all the time. The father of this god was always yelling at his people. Some gods were foolish. This same god once came down from the sky where he was supposed to live just to teach people how to make an apron. Now isn't that ridiculous? Each god demanded that all the people in their country love only them and dislike all the other gods and all the other countries. Gods were always asking people to make wars on other gods and on other people. They fought all the time, boys and girls. Once upon a time, some people thought there were too many gods, so they made up a god no one could see. But no one ever saw any of the other gods either. Gods did not work. They were not farmers, or fishermen, or carpenters. They didn't work in factories or in offices. Why? Because they were make-believe. Long ago, people made them up. And now, we can help everyone to forget about them. Nowadays, people can be happy if they don't dream up make-believe gods. Gods never, I repeat, never, boys and girls, were very nice. Blasphemers. Hardly any god was ever happy. Aren't you glad those silly people grew up and learned to build schools and hospitals and roads? And learned to read and write? And learned how to use science to help them? When you grow up, boys and girls, you won't play with your toys anymore. You will be like Daddy and Mommy. Since people have grown up, they can put their make-believe gods in their toy chests. Just like you will do with your toys someday. Mommies and daddies are much nicer than gods. They really take care of you, not just for make-believe. People are nice and can get along together just by being people. We know that now. So, we don't need gods anymore.